Okay, I've got another piece of this petrified wood and some other pieces I'm going to be using to make some small points in the next series of videos. So, and a lot of people call these gem points or bird points. They're gem points if they're made from semi-precious stones and rare jaspers and stuff. So let's see. It's very delicate. Very easy to break this. I tried to, I can't save this red part, it looks like. I would like to try to save it, but it seems like I'm going to lose a lot of that when I nap it down. Now, I was looking at some Columbia River points. I believe that's Northern California, or that area. And there's various types. Most of them have stems, but there's some that are side notched. So maybe not with this one, but I'm going to make a side notch point coming up. We'll see. If I break the stem off, I'll make a side notch point. I'm going to make another stemmed point, and hopefully this time with some larger barbs, longer. Try to make a more delicate point than the last time. Now that I've got some practice with this material. A little bit too much remove there. Yeah, some of these flakes I can't even tell they're being released. That's how delicate this is. It doesn't even feel like they're being struck off. Usually I can hear a sound or I can tell that the flake is coming off. But with these small, delicate points, you can't always tell. So if you're just starting out, these points will be difficult because you won't get the feedback that you need to see if your technique's working. So yeah, I know that in the beginning, you'll be working a lot of flakes, and if you're working common materials like obsidian, small obsidian flakes, the feedback, it's important, and you're not going to be getting it when you're not able to feel those flakes coming off. So it's difficult. It's difficult for me, and I've been doing this a while, so it's going to be difficult for beginners. I recommend knapping larger size flakes. Unless you're doing only pressure flaking, then it's not so bad. But with percussion, with the indirect percussion, it's hard to gauge exactly when the flakes are coming off, and you might want to hit too hard by accident, like I just did there. Might have some issues with layers in this. If you get layers in the petrified wood, it doesn't flake like it normally should. I keep getting questions on my tools, so I think after this one I'm going to do a short video on my tools, how I made them, what they're made of. Just very basic, because I've done some other videos on making tools. It's pretty pretty simple. There's nothing really complicated about making these aluminum tools. It's just aluminum you can buy at a hardware store or online. It's a common grade of aluminum, alloy 6061. I'm pretty sure. Anyway, I've got one more tool to make, one more pressure flaker, and then now that I'm thinking about it, I'll make that next tool, the one that I'm missing for notching, and then I'll do the video. Okay, I gotta thin this down somehow without breaking it. So I'm gonna get this set up for doing some more major flake removals. I say major, but it's a small point. It's not really, they're not really going to be large flakes. Large in comparison to the point itself, but there'll be small flakes in general. So there's a balance there. There's a very delicate balance. They're very small flakes in general, but they're very important for this size of arrowhead. You can easily break your preform, again, for beginners, this is extremely difficult to master when you're working small points with delicate material. Like most people start out. I notice more and more that beginners actually tackle some of the most difficult aspects in flint knapping right away. They try to tackle the most difficult point styles and most difficult materials in the beginning. You know, they want to use natural materials for their tools like antler and hammerstones, and they won't use metal because they want to learn the natural way first. It's hard that way. I mean, it's difficult as it is to flint knap, and then you add that extra layer of difficulty with the unpredictability of the natural materials. Antler is not very predictable, same with bone. It'll break on you, or it'll split, or something will happen that you didn't expect, or it'll be too humid or too dry, or the antler you'll have will be cracked, and so forth and so on. The hammerstones might not be the correct grade for what you want, so you'll be struggling with the tool itself, and then struggling with the material, struggling with the lack of experience. You want to try to limit all your struggles until you can get the basics of flaking mastered. That would be ideal. I know it's not going to happen, but the ideal is to just get the flaking mastered so that you're not creating a lot of steps. Take some time to learn how to do your flakes without lots of step fracturing. I spent the whole year doing that, just nothing but avoiding step fractures in all my flint knapping for a year before I turned that corner, and then it is second nature now. The secret of getting clean flakes, no step fractures, is just try. You can't be over challenging yourself. You got to back off a little bit from what you think you can do. Just take it easy on the plan for your flake. Back off just a little bit from where you think it might go, because you don't want to be too aggressive with your thinking. With your strikes and your power, it's fine, you can be aggressive. But with your thinking, you've got to back off slightly from what you think you can do, and you're gonna end up with short flakes a lot of times. But that's better than breaking it, and then you'll just try to tweak it and get longer and longer flakes. So you have to have that. You have to walk that fine line between breaking it and a short flake. You got to creep up on it and tweak it until you can get the long flakes that you want without step fractures. Okay. And again, that took me a year. So roughly a year. I think I was not napping as much as I was when I first started. When I first started, I was trying to nap every day. When I was focused on eliminating step fractures, I think I was napping on the weekends mainly. So twice a week. Backed off a little bit of my thinking on that one, and it didn't ride over the top of that mass. So hopefully I can get it from this side. It's pretty irregular. I'm going to have to do some fancy footwork here to get this flat and straight. I might not be able to. Again, I just removed the step fracture, now I got another one. I think I wasn't paying attention. It's not convex enough. I was just doing a series of flakes. Forgot to check, and the area wasn't ideal, so I got another big step fracture right there. There goes a tip. A lot of times when I break the tip off like that, I'll just discard the point. Sometimes when I do videos, I don't do commentary because if I break it, I lose all the commentary. I got to do another video and I'm not going to remember what I said. Like this one here, I feel like starting over because I broke off like 1/16 of an inch on this one just now. But I'll try and finish this out. Okay, that was lucky. So I was able to take out most of that step fracture from the back and remove quite a bit of that mass. Okay. Yeah, it's not going to be perfectly straight. Oops. And I think I've said this before, but these little ones take just as long as the big ones in many cases. You got to plan a lot of these strikes. If you're doing, like right now I'm doing damage control. I'm trying to get this thin and trying to eliminate that step right there and get it kind of straightened out. This side's pretty straight, this edge. I might not be able to straighten that edge out, but we'll see. So yeah, when I'm doing this, there's some step fractures here on the base too I gotta try to get out. So I'm gonna send some flakes in to do repairs. I gotta be very careful, very precise. It's just as nerve-wracking and sometimes even more so than the large points. Now some of you guys can finish this out with pressure, but I like to use indirect percussion all the way until the very end if possible, because it allows me to do large flakes. And it's just more fun to do it that way, I think, to try to get these good strikes with large flakes. Relatively large in proportion to the point. Of course, they're all small in general with something like this, but you know what I mean. Okay, all right, so all the major step fractures are out, so I'm just going to pressure flake the rest of it, I think. Golly. Doesn't focus very well. You know, I'm kind of far away. Problem is, if I get too far, I can't see with my glasses. All right. It's out of range of the glasses. Let's see. It's already 22 minutes. I'm going to trim this up and then finish on the next video probably. So I have to be very careful with the barbs if I want to make long barbs on this one. It's not symmetrical, but that's okay. I'm going to leave it asymmetrical. I guess I could start with the finishing work. I still have 7 minutes or 6 minutes left. And the steel slips very easily on this because it's very glass-like. So I got to be careful not to put too much pressure. Because that's the tendency when it starts slipping around, you get impatient and you want to put a lot of pressure on it. You just got to be delicate. I guess I should make a very thin aluminum point on one of my tools so I can get in here with something that'll grab the edge instead of the slippery steel. So maybe I should make two tools tomorrow. Two pressure flaking tools, one for notching and one for doing edge work like this on glass and other slippery materials. Petrified wood and some of the heat-treated stone is very slippery and glass-like. Oops. I gotta be very, very careful. Lost the very tip of that barb just then. Trying to get these barbs thin so you can see it, but I'm just gonna have to leave it thick. Yeah, with a thin aluminum pick, I think I could get in there and pop those flakes off better. See, the way I'm going to make these barbs long is just to keep digging out these notches. The further I go into the point, the longer the barbs get. Of course, the longer the base gets too. Let's see. Or the stem, I should say. 28. Yeah, I gotta be careful with that. You know, you kind of sometimes need to push hard to get some of those notches deeper, but I can't do that on this material without risking snapping the whole barb off. All right, I think that's going to be it. Oh, let's see, 20, almost 29 minutes. One little bit more. The bottom of these notches are starting to stall out on me. I can crunch them in further, but then it doesn't look realistic. The real things didn't have a lot of crushing and stalling at the bottom of the notches. They were masters at notching. In fact, that's what arrowheads are known for in the New World, is the amount of notching. There isn't really the same amount in the ancient European archaeological record. I mean, there's barbed and tanged arrowheads, but the extent of notching isn't as much as in the New World. Okay, so I'll leave it there. I'm at 30 minutes and 19 seconds or something. Okay. Very similar in size, I guess. The barbs are longer. I could have gone a little bit deeper with those notches, but it's a risky thing. Okay.